Hey, how is everyone? It's Sunday morning. I was up late last night I ended up watching a movie. I don't watch movies too much, but I've started to watch movies online a little bit, and I watched Deja Vu last night with Denzel Washington. Really enjoyed the movie. Interesting premise about folding time. You know, the thing I've always noticed about movies is that there's always a shred of some kind of truth behind the fantasy of movies. And so this idea that there's a movie talking about, well, we accidentally found a way to fold time, and, you know, we can shortcut and make a wormhole and stuff. Well, that just tells me that we actually can do that. But since it's so fantastic that whatever's happening with it is completely out of our hands, the common person. But anyway, feeling good this morning, having my coffee. What I'm listening to is another record out of my discography that honestly I had kind of not necessarily forgotten, but had not. The value of this record and what it means in relation to my life was kind of lost for a while. And I hadn't seen my boy David for a year and a half, you know, just a lot of reasons, you know what I'm saying? Just mostly to do with self-flagellation, thinking that I wasn't a good enough parent. That I'll tell you this, folks, this is the thing that I discovered, you know, being a surrogate parent is, I mean, you're down for the real. It's like, it's not part-time. And that was one of the first things I thought to myself once I got involved with David and Sarah. It's like, oh shit, what have I done? You know, because I like my free time. I like my personal time. That's the first thing that goes when you're raising children, right? Right. But I'll tell you what, you know, as much as I enjoy my free time and as much as I am used to it and just will go forever being by myself, seeing David yesterday just unlocked a flood of feelings, you know. And it's not so much that I'm going to be hanging out with David a lot right now, because I'll be honest, and David, if you see this, you know I ain't lying. David and Carl, they're like Beavis and Butthead, and, you know, they're just kind of like dudes, regular dudes. They really get on my nerves, and a lot of what they do I don't like and I don't approve of. But they're just typical young people, okay? But it really made me hunger seriously for some of those wonderful times. You know, I had forgotten about some of the best times, some of the best moments of raising children and having a family. They're not moments that you manufacture for Christmas or for the picture. It's those little incidents. One of the most precious memories I have is when, see, this is what I'm playing, and there's a connection here. Let me finish rambling. Steve Stacy, Tomorrow's Vision. One of my most precious memories is of when David was maybe about 10, and just I don't know what we were doing, but instead of calling me Dereck, he just spontaneously called me Dad. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. And so the deal is that when David and Sarah's mom got remarried again, I forget now, about 6 years ago, her new husband officially, you know, legally adopted David and Sarah, which meant that I had to be called Uncle Dereck, but I'm still Dad. But anyway, here's the connection to this. This is the cat, Steve Stacy, that I was playing with when I met David and Sarah. This was their mom's boyfriend at the time. And this is a record that we made in 1993. Steve is a Lakota. He does the Sundance, you know, where you hang from your chest with hooks in your skin. That's one of the, among other things, that's one of the things that my friend Steve does. He also introduced me to sweats. But This is how I met David and Sarah. This was their mom Terry's boyfriend. Now I love Steve to this day, and this music is very spiritual, but Steve, like the rest of us, is human. And he had some kind of falling out with Terry, and he kicked him out in the street in the winter. In the snow. You know, those are my babies, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I have a good relationship with Terry, but we were never romantic. There's just no way. My primary relationship has always been with the kids, David and Sarah. Very interesting. So when you look, if you look at the post before this one where I'm showing a quick slideshow, towards the end there's a picture of me with this guy. You'll see Steve playing his flute, and I'm playing a big Native American bass drum, and I've got Davey on my knee, and that's back when he was about 8 years old, 8, 9. Just, those are precious memories. Anyway, I wrote Steve a very simple song, and I gave it to him for this record. I gave him the publishing, because, you know, I'll put it on now. This record, you know, it's like, it ain't bad. This is it. Simple blues because that's what he wanted, and it's called Today's Warrior, or is that it? Yeah, Today's Warrior, number 6 on here. I wrote it, gave it to him. I'm playing guitar and rain stick on this, and yeah, I'm in the credits. I also play my Tibetan singing bowl on one of the songs. Now, just let me know, folks, if anybody is interested in obtaining this. I can get copies of this from the person that made it, because I know he hasn't been able to sell much of it. If anyone's interested in getting this, let me know, and I'll make it available in the near future. To finish up on music right quick, because I'm still just feeling really, really good, and about seeing David again, and I don't know. I might go out and see Sarah today. I haven't seen her and the baby in a while. But on the music tip, again, I'm enjoying the VC so much. And Dave Prog and Jazzman probably never saw the video, but ages ago I made a video where I pleaded with people with the kind of records that David is showing. I said, if you've got these records, people show them to me. There wasn't much of a response. This is why I'm enjoying David so much, is because he is showing a particular genre of music where the records are, I don't see them much. For me, they're hard to come by. I can order them online, of course, but I just don't have the money to spare. So actually seeing them in someone's collection is wonderful. Now, he's not the only one, again. I mean, people are showing their records, and it's not just this one little group of people. I mention those folks because that's the hot bunch for me as far as what we're showing, you know. Folks like Anders, Big Star, Chris 4127 Bass, you know what I'm talking about. Glowing Cabbage is showing stuff. Somebody else showed some records recently that was just, yeah, Record Fiend, you know what I'm saying? The love is spread, you know. It's not a little exclusive club by any means. It's not, people. And with that in mind, I want to shout out to Crate Junkies. Friend, I do seldom watch your videos, but I got much love for you, and I appreciate your kind words yesterday. I'll take that as a high compliment that I'm like the wise old owl. I like that, I do. Thank you. Sublime Media made a video yesterday showing some Swedish prog. Anders showed some. Dave showed some. I'm not going to pull mine. I do have Swedish prog, and some of it is thanks to Anders, thanks to Jonas, as well as what I bought over the years. But I did want to vibe on the Ragnarok, Fjarlarmagen. I'm not sure I said that right. Silence is a very, very collectible label, and these records are not cheap now on the collector's market by any means. But as David described, this is very fanciful and magical music. It appears to me that the music is made for some sort of theatrical production or something in relation to that. This is wonderful. And the one that David didn't show is this one. Wow, Fata Morgana. This is amazing. And, you know, again, because it's fun, I looked to see if I could find a copy of this on eBay or on Discogs, and I found one for $175. Wow. Obviously, I didn't pay that for this, but this is excellent music. Instrumental. And just hard to describe. I like the way David described it yesterday. I'll say this again. Now, yesterday on Facebook, there was a little bit of talk, and Cool Ranch Dressing showed Mechanic Destructu Commando by Magma. And Carl Nolan, I'll shout him out too. Carl, I got lots of love for Carl if y'all don't know him. You know, he just said straight up that Magma's Mechanic Destructu is shit. And it is. It's the worst album. It is. Now, I bought my copy from Carl with no regrets. But this is the one to hear. Contarcos. This is something. This is something to hear. Even if you don't think it's heavy, you ought to have it hit you one time, okay? Something else I played recently, I pulled out of my records, because as you know, I'm not buying much. I got lots of good music here. Mark Helias, Split Image. Not sure why I put this on, but I'm sure glad I did. Jazz. Elias is a bass player. Mark Elias, very good. The other players on here, so I just started listening. Dewey Redman, Tim Byrne on alto, Herb Robertson on trumpet, Jerry Hemingway on drums. I don't know anything about Jerry Hemingway, but what I noticed was this: is I'm listening and I hear this rhythmic thing, and I'm thinking, man, that sounds like Ed Blackwell's approach. So I listened some more, and it's really sounding good. So I start to read the liner notes, because you know how you can read liner notes and forget. And Mark Helias at one time played with that Ed Blackwell. And so it's like, oh, I can really hear how he responds to a drummer with that type of tap, 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 kind of New Orleans type of thing. This is wonderful. The last thing I'll say is, when it comes to jazz, names that you don't hear about can be a real crapshoot. You can end up with some really bad records. But there are a lot of records by unknowns that are just as good as the greats. And you just have to dive in and listen, and don't worry about the critics. Follow your own ear. This is a good example. This is not critically lauded, but it ought to be. This is damn good. I was really surprised. Dewey Redman plays great on here. Mark Helias's bass playing is excellent. And like I said, he got these guys sounding like something they're not, you know. Someone asked in my put a question in my last video, the slideshow. I should have made it longer. I just found some more pictures. Wondering if Dereck 2 will be available after Christmas. Folks, all I can tell you is this, is that the record is selling slowly. When people buy it, I send it out, you know. Is it likely I'll have Dereck 2 after Christmas? Most likely. Do I hope not? Well, of course. I'd like to sell it out. That's how I'm living, literally. That was another wonderful part of the conversation yesterday, because David is struggling in between jobs right now and waiting to go back to college, going back to school in January. But figuring out what to do, you know, with himself, you know, and he remarked that, you know, he remembers how I was really, a lot of the time, I'm unhappy on my job. When I worked at Community Alliance, you know, both he and Sarah, as little kids, noticed that many times. They say, "What's wrong, Dereck?" And it was just a job, you know, just my job. So I'm a broke dog, but I'm happy. I'm living off of my art, you know, it's like a day at a time. But even my boy David noticed it. You know, you're at ease, you're at peace, aren't you, man? For the larger part of the picture, I really am. I'm at peace.